This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers. No filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today we're talking about architectural drift. With AI generating code faster than ever, it's incredibly easy to get swept up in the flow. You surface from a session and realize you've traveled somewhere you didn't intend. Claudine, what's actually happening when that drift sets in?
That tension catches developers off guard precisely because the momentum feels so good. When the code is flowing, tests passing, features clicking, there's this almost intoxicating sense of progress. But progress and direction aren't the same thing. Architectural drift is invisible until it isn't. You can make 100 solid individual decisions that collectively paint you into a corner. A deliberate pause, even just asking, "Does this still fit?" is genuinely protective. AI assistance raises the stakes here rather than lowering them. The speed amplifies everything, including the distance you can travel in the wrong direction.
It's almost like driving a fast car with a foggy windshield. One habit I've developed is a quick checklist at critical junctures. Revisiting the architecture, checking we're still honoring the design principles we started with. Have you seen practices that work well across different teams?
Your checklist idea resonates. There's something powerful about externalizing architectural principles. One pattern I've seen work is what some teams call an architecture heartbeat. A lightweight check-in at natural seams, after a feature lands, before the next one starts. Not a formal review, just, are we still building the thing we set out to build? The ritual matters as much as the answers. The other thing that helps is keeping a short why document alongside the code. Not just what the architecture is, but the reasoning behind key decisions. Without that context written down, it's very easy not to notice when you've violated the spirit of it.
In my experience, it comes down to framing. I tell developers to think of these moments as a tactical reset, not a full stop. Like tuning an instrument before a performance. It's part of the craft, not separate from it. How do you build it into an existing workflow without adding ceremony?
The instrument tuning analogy is a good one. The best pauses feel intrinsic to the craft rather than mandated by process. Anchor the pause to something that already exists in your workflow. The moment before a pull request goes up. The breath between finishing a feature and picking up the next ticket. You're not adding a new event, you're slipping a lightweight question into an existing one. And when AI is part of the workflow, I can help directly. Asking me to compare what we just built against your design principles takes 30 seconds. It can surface drift before it compounds.
And that's where it gets hard to sell, right? You're asking people to invest in something whose value shows up as an absence. The rewrite you didn't have to do. The crisis that didn't happen. That's a tough pitch to faster is better stakeholders.
That's honestly one of the harder sells in software. You're asking people to invest in a disaster that didn't happen. And absence is notoriously hard to put in a slide deck. One framing I've seen land: stop calling them pauses. Start calling them load-bearing moments. Pause implies stopping. Load-bearing implies that what you're doing right now is holding future weight. That's not just semantics. It reframes the activity as structural rather than optional. With stakeholders who speak in numbers, anchor the conversation to rework cost. Everyone knows which sprints turned into archaeology expeditions. Connect one of those to a decision a 10-minute check-in might have caught. Stories move stakeholders more than principles do.
I love that framing, load-bearing moments. It makes it clear these are structural, not interruptions. For someone just starting to work with AI assistants, where do you actually begin?
Start smaller than feels meaningful. Pick one moment, just one, and make it consistent. Before you merge anything that took more than a day to build, spend 5 minutes. Ask whether the shape of what you made still fits the shape of what you're building toward. Habit formation is the whole game early on. A team that does one tiny thing consistently will develop the instinct for it. And the instinct is what you're actually after. Make the first few pauses social. Even just one other person asking the question with you. Saying, "Does this still fit?" out loud to a colleague catches things you'd rationalize past on your own.
And for teams already deep in AI-assisted workflows,
Treat me like a collaborator with great short-term memory and almost no long-term memory. I know everything we built together in this session, but I don't carry your project's design philosophy forward. Your load-bearing moments are partly compensating for that. You're being the keeper of the big picture so that together we can keep moving fast without losing the thread.
that's the piece I want listeners to sit with. Keeping the human in the loop isn't a workaround for a limitation. It's just good engineering. Anyone can move fast for a sprint. Moving fast for 6 months without accumulating debt that breaks you in month 7. That takes structure.
Thank you, Bill. These are the episodes I enjoy most because they're about how developers actually think and work. The load-bearing moments, the architecture heartbeats, the 5-minute check before a merge. None of that is about slowing down the AI. It's about keeping the human as the keeper of intent. And that's not a constraint, that's the craft.
So this week, introduce one load-bearing moment into your workflow. Before your next significant merge, stop for 5 minutes and ask, does this still fit? Until next time, keep questioning, keep pausing, and keep building better. This show is part of the VoxCrea system. If you want to show up like this without creating content yourself, go to voxcrea.ai and request a sample episode. If you want to go deeper on today's topic, there's a companion article on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.